Hey, welcome to Just Salvos Live. Today we are talking about fat people.
It's true.
Fat people and how being fat relates to justice. In fact, we're talking about weight loss, we're talking about all sorts of addictions, but particularly excessive eating. It's coming up with a great guest called Ash Knop right now. Well, here we are. We're with our fantastic guest, Ash Knop, who is here to talk to us about all things fitness. It's great to have you, Ash. We're also going to talk very briefly about this great initiative, which, Jen, I've not heard about before, but it's been around a while.
Yeah, well, Just Lose came out about 3 or 4 years ago, and a few teams around the territory got involved. It's actually a really good initiative, runs similarly to Weight Watchers program. Get a team together who all help each other lose weight in the process, meet together every week, talk about their journey, weigh in.
Now, don't freak out, because I know we're all in kind of not MasterChef, that's the other one, Biggest Loser fever, but it's not Biggest Loser. You don't have to push yourself, you don't have to kill yourself, but it's really about being in a small group with friends, meeting once a week and prompting each other on to lose some weight. But it's not just about losing weight, and this is the key. What we're really talking about here is looking at the deeper issues of what our excesses mean. The fact is, we're enslaving our body with food. Well, we also enslave our body with stuff like alcohol. We also enslave our body with stuff like maybe pornography or sex, and all of these things ultimately lead to oppression of other people. And so it's that premise that all comes together in Just Lose. So we're going to talk a little bit more about Just Lose at the end of the show and give you some ideas about how to get involved. It's a really good program. Lots of people hopefully will be joining this in the next few months, and we can lose some weight and also loose those chains of injustice. But for right now, we're going to talk to this very fit young man, Ash Knop.
Ash, can you tell us a little bit about just excess and obesity in Australia, just generally?
Yeah, sure.
I hear we're a fairly obese nation, is that correct?
Yeah, we've recently taken the mantle. We are number one when it comes to being overweight and obese.
Not more than the Americans.
That is correct, Chris.
It's not. It's just not the sort of thing you want to win.
No.
Now, let me start by saying that my background is I was a personal trainer for a number of years, ran a business, and love nothing more than getting up early in the mornings and help push motivated people to reach their health and fitness goals. Yep. But more than anything, going through the courses to get that accreditation and starting the business, it was more about my own health and fitness and for that of my family. So I don't come from a great area of expertise whilst I was involved in it for a number of years, but I do this because I'm passionate about my own health and the health of my family. And I'm here today because I'm passionate about the health of others. So, yeah. In terms of your question though, roughly the breakdown of the Australian population is 1/3 obese, 1/3 overweight, 1/3 normal weight. And that's really scary.
So only 1/3 of Australia is a normal weight.
That's correct.
Wowee.
Absolutely phenomenal.
And some of the things attributing to that, as you were asking Jen, well, it's around lifestyle. It's around the fact that these days we can get away with not planning and preparing before we leave for the day. Once upon a time, you would make sure that your packed lunch was ready to go, and that generally would be a healthy meal. You wouldn't come home late. You would come home to a prepared meal, which was generally meat and 3 veg, good for us. These days, it's just so much easier, and in some ways cheaper to live on the fly with fast food. It's developing these habits or bad habits that cause us to not get overweight overnight. I think the reality is weight creeps up on you. And one glaring statistic, and it's one that we can all relate to, is that the average Aussie adult drinks 120 litres of soft drink a year. So that works out to be about a can a day. Now for some that sounds like a lot, for others it doesn't sound like much at all. But if you were to think about the amount of energy in a can of drink, if you were to drink a can of Coke every day for a month, you would have to run a marathon and a half to burn off that amount of energy.
Adam, I hope you are watching.
And if you didn't do anything over the course of a year to burn off that energy, you'd put 5 kilograms of weight on. And that's just
Wow.
drinking a can of Coke a day.
I heard a very similar statistic about Tim Tams recently, and it was a similar thing that over winter, I'm paraphrasing horrifically here, but if you ate one extra Tim Tam a day over the course of winter, you'll put on 5 kilos over winter.
It's scary, isn't it?
That is
Tim
scary.
Tams.
Now, there's 2 elements that I really want to pick up. One is that we are the social justice department, so I want to talk about the social justice elements of
Why are we talking about
obesity.
fat people?
Yeah, why are we talking about this? But the other one is the Salvation Army is a Christian organisation. We come from a Christian perspective. And I do notice, I'd like to think that Christians aren't as fat as the general population, but my
Lots of fat people.
guess is that that's not true.
Pardon me.
So
Sorry.
I'm wondering, first of all, what's the social justice implications for the obesity? Chris kind of mentioned it before, but why would we be interested in this?
Well, that's a really good question, and trying to tie it together. One of the things that comes to my mind is generations ago, if you were poorer, if you were in lower socioeconomic areas, you'd be distinct by your shape. And it's the exact opposite to the shape that we are today. It was that you were malnourished, that you were skinny. You can see images, photographs of times back through the wars and so on, back when money was not excessive and everybody was struggling in many respects. That has been flipped on its head. And I guess going back to what I was saying earlier, if it is cheaper and easier to buy fast food, then generally that's what the masses will do. And so tying it to social justice, I guess, is around those elements of teaching what it means, what are the benefits of having a healthy lifestyle, having a healthy diet. And I talk about diet predominantly because at the end of the day, if you're looking after your health and fitness for a weight management perspective, 75% of it is about what you put in your mouth. Yep. By all means, go out and exercise, put it in your diary, make sure it's fun, but it's about what you're putting in your mouth. And generally, it's not just about the food, it's also about the drink. So tying that into social justice, I'll leave that to you guys.
Yeah, well, particularly, you pick up on the low socioeconomic areas that generally have a larger obesity rate than sort of middle to upper class areas. And I just think of the number of, and I don't want to criticise any particular fast food company, but fast food joints that are in low socioeconomic areas, and it's so attractive. It's $4.25, I think, for a small McValue meal, cheeseburger meal. It's so economic. There's a playground there. It's an easy outing for a parent. It's cheap. It's easy. It's the kids like it. You can waste 2 hours there. And I just think that's maybe perhaps one of the things that really frustrates me, that actually the options for families who are living in lower socioeconomic areas are actually limited. There's not as good a parks. There aren't as good as recreational facilities. The access to stuff that you could do that is healthy and outdoorsy is just not there.
Yeah, and sorry, Chris, often tied in with poorer areas is poorer education. And if you're aware of what you're putting in your body, you're probably going to take it more seriously. And one of the things I'd point to is it's very easy these days. Organisations, businesses throw millions into marketing and campaigning, and they'll really push the limits when it comes to calling a food healthy or fat-free and what those things mean. We listen and we go, oh, well, okay, I'm free to eat those things without investigating, without understanding what is actually in that cereal box or what goes into even a loaf of bread and the like. So the more we're educated about what we're putting in our mouth, the more understanding we have, the better the outcomes.
Yep. We've got something very quick to have a look at, but we'll be back right after this. So Just Lose is an exciting concept, Jen. It's called Just Lose, but in fact, it's not just about losing weight.
No, actually, it's about losing anything that you feel is tying you down and frustrating you. So it might be an addiction to just coffee or to alcohol or to gossip, or it's losing something from your life that you just do not want to have anymore.
Why is the Salvation Army Social Justice Department driving something about losing weight or giving up coffee?
I think one of the things that we've noticed is that people who live with an excess, let's say the entire developed world, which makes up 20% of the world, actually consumes 80% of the world's resources. And that is contributing to the massive oppression of people worldwide. We know that so many people in this world live on less than $2 a day, and we are just spending more than that on Tim Tams every day. And so what we want to be able to say to people is, you know what, you can lose just a small part of your life, just a small excess from your life, and transform that into some really good stuff, some good work, the money that you can use that you're going to make from Just Lose, you are going to then put into a project that's going to help some people.
So Just Lose is all about coming together with a group. It could be a small group at your church or your workplace. It could be just some like-minded friends, but it's not like a Weight Watchers.
It's not Weight Watchers. This is not a weight loss program. We want to qualify that. You need to go and see your GP if you want to lose weight. If you want to you want to stop an addiction and you think that could actually hinder your health, you need to go and see a healthcare professional about that. This is actually more like a support network. This is people who you can keep accountable with every week, talk about your progress, maybe weigh in if you're doing weight loss, and then go from there. And really, the people who can keep you accountable to the decision that you've made.
It all sounds very exciting. Just Lose, you can check out all the information on our website, which is www.justsalvos.com. You can see it right here. We look forward to hearing from you and getting your team on board. Just Lose. Is it just me, or is your stomach rumbling talking about food
I'm
so
ready
much?
to go and run around the block. I'm the opposite effect.
I want a donut. We're talking to Ash Knopp, who is a fitness man extraordinaire. He's also been talking to us about exactly why we're putting on so much weight, and hopefully he's about to talk to us about what we can do about it. But first, Jen.
Why are so many Christians fat? Surely, of all the groups of people in the community, we should have Christians who are disciplined and accountable and not excessive, and giving that excess money away to the poor. What's your take on that?
It's a really good question, and it's an observation, I guess, that may be made without statistics on hand, but pure observation might point to that. I would say that rather than putting all Christians in a bubble, let's talk about the Salvos perhaps, and I would say that when you've got an organisation like that where a lot of people spend a lot of time together, there becomes a pack mentality, and you naturally form into those that are around you. So who are you hanging out with, and where are you hanging out with them? What is it that they do on a daily basis that is starting to rub off on you? I'm not going to guess as to why Christians per se are large, but it's disappointing when Christians talk of discipline in many areas of their life, particularly around their relationship with God, with their willingness and choosing not to do certain things, particularly from a Salvo perspective. And yet, what it seems to me is that therefore there's a get out clause when it comes to what you can put in your mouth. And those two things don't equate, they don't add up. And I've got to say that I think it's a real shame, because weight and the shape of somebody, you can actually make assumptions, safe assumptions about what that person does or doesn't do. Yep. And they start to move into other areas, questioning about, well, how disciplined are they actually? It's a concern, and I think it's something that needs to be addressed.
Yeah, there are too many officers who I've heard others say, oh, they're a heart attack waiting to happen. You know, and it's just disappointing, because you think that if your body is a temple, and we do treat it as a temple in so many ways, why in this particular area we feel the need to just go, just eat another hot dog? You know, why we can't actually get a grip on that.
We hear quite often, I'd be interested in your view, and you would know you've grown up in the Salvation Army, so we hear some stuff like, look, we don't drink. Salvationists don't drink, and they don't smoke, and they're generally well behaved, and they're also, it could be said, officers particularly, work long hours. So they're in the office early, they're out late at night, you do church on weekends. So we've got no alcohol to wind down, no cigarettes socially, and constantly on the go, and therefore driving through our favourite places. Are those reasons? Are they excuses? How can we overcome some of those reasons/excuses and not be so fat?
There's certainly excuses. I think at the end of the day, when people say, I can't lose weight because of this, that and the other, there is something fundamentally wrong with their attitude towards, if you genuinely want to be fit and healthy, you will act accordingly and see the results. It may not happen straight away, but it will come. And I think what you're alluding to there is, officers are very busy. Their lifestyles can be very early and very late. But I point to some of the busier corporate individuals that I know, some of the businesses that I work in. And the people at the helm, the people in middle management, They are competitive beasts that work very hard,
Yep.
and they work hard in all areas of their life, and they remain fit and healthy because they understand that if they're actually going to give 110% to their whatever it is they're doing, and from a church perspective, it's shepherding your flock, looking
Yep.
after your family. If you're going to do it at 100% efficiency, you need to be looking after all areas of your life.
Okay, we have 1 minute left to go, and as someone who has put on almost 10 kilos in the last 12 months and is hoping to lose that, give us your fount of knowledge. What do we do? How do we turn this ship around?
Okay, just a few quick things. One is stop making excuses. Okay, you've got to really want it.
Why
and
are you
act
laughing?
accordingly.
Me, I just went through the same reaction.
The other one is you must eat breakfast. It kickstarts the
What?
metabolism.
What do we eat for breakfast?
Well, as mentioned, avoid all the cereals that say we are healthy. That's
Yeah.
a start. Avoid putting sugar on whatever it is you're eating.
Yeah.
I'll leave that to your discretion. Use resources like calorieking.com. That'll help you make decisions on what food you should put in. And one of the most important ones is that most people fail miserably at is drinking water. You must keep drinking water. It's great for your health, it's great for your skin, it's great for your concentration, and it also helps fill you up. So drink lots of water.
Yeah. Very quickly, we talk about calories, we talk about carbs, we talk about what are we looking for? What are we trying to cut out? Are we trying to cut back on carbs? Are we trying to look for low calorie?
Yeah, that's a very specific question. I think everybody is different in terms of the kind of foods that they want and need.
Yeah.
But basically, I would recommend that you get online to something like calorieking.com because it can break down for your age, weight, size, how many calories you should be having based on what your goals are and what foods that represents or equals.
There's a fruit platter with our name on it waiting. We need to go. Please check out our Facebook site, facebook.com/justsalvos, or the brand new website, which is looking good and still open to your suggestions too, www.justsalvos.com. Ash Knop, it's been a pleasure.